Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to go ahead and give folks a couple minutes to join as it's just 6 o'clock right now. But very happy to have you all here and looking forward to talking about your students joining us as a part of the Falcon family. So we'll just give a couple more moments. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We may have some folks continue to log in, but in respect for your time, we know this is a Thursday evening. We're really happy to have you here. My name is Nicole Shabbat-Weifrich. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Engagement here at Bentley and work very closely with our orientation and student onboarding team. I'm very excited to be welcoming your Falcon, your new student, to our Bentley family, and happy to have you here tonight to connect with us on really learning more about what it means to be a first Falcon, a first generation student and family in our community, and hear from our colleagues in the Office of Student Success and Student Financial Services to help make sure that you feel like you have the resources that you need. We will make sure that we get through our presentation and offer opportunities at the end to hear and see and respond to any questions that have come in. You can feel free to use the Q&A feature on the Zoom, and that will get right to us, and we'll make sure to get you an answer before we log off today, or certainly have contact info to follow back up with you. But again, we're grateful to have you here, and I'd also like to turn it over to my colleague Vanessa to have her introduce herself and her role here on campus.
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Vanessa Velasquez, and I am the first generation experience specialist here within the Division of Student Affairs. I work very closely with Nicole and her team and all various departments across the non-academic side of university life. And so I work closely with our vice presidents of student affairs, and we try to create a very welcoming environment for our first generation students in many ways. This webinar is an example of the work that we are doing to ensure that you and your students are ready for when the fall comes and you feel like you have all the information that you need for a very successful start. So I'm very thankful to be here, and I'm also here to answer any questions as they come up. But for the time being, I'm going to take a back seat and pass it over to our colleagues in the Office of Student Success.
Thank you. My name is Kristen Helm. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Success Coaching within the Office of Student Success.
Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Kamoa. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Undergraduate Academic Advising. Just want to make sure. There we go. Is that showing up okay for everybody?
You are good, Val. Yep.
You can see it?
Yep.
Okay.
It just went back.
Oh, did it? Okay. Bear with me 1 second.
I think as Val is setting up the PowerPoint, this is one of 2 webinars that we will be doing before the fall semester starts. So the focus will be on academic advising and coaching, as well as student financial services, which also includes financial aid. And then I believe next week we will have one that's more specific to student life. And we'll also have a bit of a Q&A after. And now I will sit back and pass it back to our team.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. I just want to make sure everybody can see the agenda okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So Kristen and I are going to spend a little bit of time talking through the Office of Student Success, the functional areas that are part of the office, and essentially who we are and what we do in terms of supporting students. We also want to give you a heads up in terms of what's upcoming for students who are joining us for the first time this fall, maybe what their first year at Bentley might look like, and how you can best support your students.
First, we're going to talk about the Office of Student Success, which is the office that houses both Val and I's roles. We are located in Jennison Hall in 336. It's an academic building, so it's where a lot of your students' classrooms will be. It's located near the library as well, if when you are on campus, if you know where that is. Our office works with students to create academic goals, to work towards degree completion, and also to make sure that they know of all of the resources that the campus has to provide to them around their academic success. And so that includes academic advising, coaching, tutoring, accessibility services. Some other universities may call it disability services. And we also work closely with our academic integrity friends, which is, how would you describe the academic integrity? Like
It's a rule that helps ensure that students are adhering to Bentley's academic standards and following kind of rules and policies that govern the academic work that they do.
Yes. And we work with all students of all populations. There's not any one group that we focus on predominantly. And we have office hours, and we also have scheduled appointments, and we will go into that in a little bit. But for this presentation, we are going to focus on student success coaches and our academic advisors, who will play two big roles in your students' time at Bentley.
So I'm going to start with academic advising, and the best way I would describe academic advising is our role is quite similar to what a high school guidance counselor does, but without the career advising, because we have a separate phenomenal office that does that. So to start, wanted to talk through our advising model. So all students are assigned an academic advisor just prior to when they enroll at Bentley. So probably sometime very late August, early September, your students will be able to see in Workday, which is one of the technology systems that we use here on campus, who their assigned advisor is. And their assigned advisor is essentially a resource for them to use as much or as little as they wish to throughout their time at Bentley. And the advisor will be a great resource for students as they confirm what they're looking to do for their major, which is going to be the primary focus of their studies. We also have a series of courses that all students are required to take. And so a student might want to connect with their advisor to confirm that they're taking the appropriate courses at the right time throughout their experience at Bentley. If the student's thinking about studying abroad and they want to know how to fit that in. So anything that connects to their academic experience, the student's advisor can be a great resource for them. We look at this as a partnership in which both the advisor and the student are working together to really help identify what the student's academic goals are while they're at Bentley and help them come up with a plan for how they might achieve those goals. Sometimes that plan needs to be adjusted or the student's goals might change, and that's great. And so we remain a resource for the student all the way through their time with us. In addition to the assigned professional advisor, there are a couple of other resources that we just wanted to mention that are also helpful for a new student in particular. One of the courses that students will take this fall, new first-year students, is a Falcon Discovery Seminar, which is a combination of an academic course as well as some helpful information that could enable students to really begin to adjust to a college setting. And that course will have a faculty member teaching the class as well as a student peer leader. And those two individuals will be a fantastic resource for new students as they get acclimated to all things Bentley. And we really do encourage students to start making connections, not just with their fellow students, but their instructors from a very early point. Because Bentley is a rather small school, it creates the opportunity for students to really get to know their faculty and vice versa. And those connections and resources can be really helpful for the student as they spend their time at Bentley and even beyond their time at the institution. And then in terms of some key academic advising resources that students might utilize, want to kind of divide this into two categories. One is how students might connect with advising, and then the other are resources that exist to them kind of outside that individual content or individual connection. So the three primary ways that students will connect with an advisor are email, drop-ins, and appointments. Emails, obviously a student can send at any point in time, but they're really best for more simple or straightforward questions. It can be difficult to really fully address a more complicated matter, a more complex question via email. but students are certainly invited to contact us via email, and we will respond to them as soon as we can, usually within 1 business day. Drop-ins are held weekdays in our office, typically from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. These are opportunities for students to come in and ask a relatively quick question. Maybe they're in between classes and they happen to be walking by and they're like, oh, I'll stop by there and ask this question I've been thinking about. So drop-in conversations are limited in length. They're about 10 minutes. They're typically conducted by one of our peer academic advisors. So this would be a highly trained student who's in their 3rd or 4th year at Bentley. And they're a resource for the student to talk through some more quick or time-sensitive questions, again, without needing an appointment. But this even gets into a realm where maybe something a bit more complicated than would be covered in an email, or where the discussion might be helpful. And then appointments are up to 30 minutes in length and are really intended for more in-depth discussion about, the student's academic goals, maybe looking to do a long-range plan that's going to outline which classes they should take when to do all of the things that they want to do while they're at Bentley. Or more in-depth discussion as a student's looking to choose their major or deciding if they want to do an optional minor. So as I mentioned earlier, a major would be the primary focus of a student's coursework. A minor is just 4 or 5 classes, but can represent another area of interest or another skill set that the student wants to have. So appointments are held with either the student's assigned academic advisor or another professional advisor in the office, and can be scheduled and need to be scheduled in advance through our system that I had mentioned earlier. And then in terms of resources that are more static and available for students to consult at any point in time, our office as a whole publishes a monthly newsletter in the fall and spring semesters, and those are emailed to students at their Bentley email address. And so we encourage them to take a look at that. It typically will include some key dates or deadlines that they want to be mindful of, maybe some helpful tips and guidance that can benefit them. So we encourage them to keep an eye out for that. Our office also hosts a variety of programs and events throughout the year, whether that's pop-up advising or some group advising, typically promoted via email as well as newsletter and on this webpage listed here. The academic calendar is a university-wide document, and it is already published for both the fall semester, which runs September through December, and the spring semester, which is January through May, and includes some of those key dates and deadlines that I had mentioned a moment ago. And then the academic catalog is really an overview of all things academic. It has course descriptions, so giving an overview of the content of a particular course. For our majors, outlining all of our majors and what are the courses that a student would take for each of those programs. So as they're kind of making or confirming their selection, they know what might be involved. And the key thing for all new students enrolling this fall is they will always look at the 24-25 catalog, because that aligns with when they enrolled at Bentley. So the curriculum requirements or the coursework requirements that are in place starting this fall are the ones that they will follow through completion. And then we do try to keep our Instagram steady and interesting and fun for students, and we encourage them to check that out.
I do want to add, the academic calendar is also great for those families and students who potentially have to buy flights for winter break or are traveling. We do want you to be aware of when your student may have finals up until, because the final schedule may not be released yet, but it does state when the last final potentially could be. And so we don't want you to get in any issue with what if you missed it or anything. And if there's anything on the calendar that you don't know what it means or what it could be, you can reach out to an academic advisor or anyone in our office, and we would be able to help you walk through what that would mean.
Oh, could I just ask a quick clarifying question? On one of the earlier slides you showed, it said that new students would each be assigned a professional academic advisor. How will they get that initial contact and find out who that person is so they know which kind of person is their outreach connection point?
Yeah, so the information is posted in Workday. So that is the student technology system that I had mentioned. So all new students will become familiar with Workday very quickly because we'll be using it quite soon for the course registration process, which we'll talk more about in a bit. And then we typically often send a welcome message to our advisees at the start of the semester to introduce ourselves and say, hi, I'm Valerie, I'm your academic advisor. Here are some ways that you can connect with me. So those are the two primary ways that students would learn who their assigned advisor is.
So I have a clarified question. Kristen, you mentioned that families and students can, or specifically families, can get in touch with you. What would be the easiest way for them to get that contact information? Is it best to go through Instagram, or will we be sharing contact information with them towards the end of the presentation?
Email, phone calls, or we check our Instagram daily. So between all three, we are reachable in all ways. The best way for students to get in contact with our office, though, will be through email or stopping into the office.
Gotcha. So if we go to Bentley, it was like if we Google Bentley Office of Student Success, that information will hopefully come up, and then we can use that to get in touch. Cool. So, so I'm also hearing like the biggest important message here too is definitely encourage students to check their emails. And try to go through them as much, like be very thorough. There's a lot of golden information there.
Yes.
That we definitely want to keep an eye on. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to talk about academic support, and this is where my role comes into play in our office. So if you want to move to the next slide. So within the Office of Student Success, we do have advising, but the other branch of it is the academic support side. So that's the student accessibility services. So that is, they help with people who have accommodation plans. So if in high school you had any type of accommodation, they will be able to assist you. I believe they have a session coming up as well. And so you will get to learn more about their services, what they do to help students one-on-one, and how you as support could also be in that process as well. We also have tutoring within our office, and there's many different types of tutoring on our campus. So we have the learning labs. There's quite a bit of them. There's math, writing. There's a lot in your syllabus that you get. So the first day, kind of a breakdown of everything that's expected in the class, when your deadlines will be. If a class is directly correlated to a learning lab, it will be in the syllabus for you to see there. But we work with them very closely. And then we also have tutoring in small groups within our office. So that would be anywhere from 2 to 5 students, I believe, is the highest we go there. Could be a little higher depending on the course. And then we also do one-on-one tutoring as well within our tutoring program. We also do large-scale tutoring, which is called Geek Squad on campus, and those are very popular. Faculty members will have courses that are tied to a Geek Squad learning, and it's usually right before finals or midterms that those big tutor sessions will be happening, and your faculty will be putting those in their Brightspace account, which is your online educational site for all of your classes to submit all of your assignments and things. And we will also be emailing you if you're in those courses and there is a Geek Squad, you'll also get notification that way. And then alongside all of the advisors, some students will have an academic coach. All students are eligible to get an academic coach. And so what that is if a student maybe needed some more support or they were having a difficult time for a short period of time or a long period, there's no timeline. Myself or 2 of my colleagues could meet with the student regularly, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, to check in on them. We talk about organizational planning for them. We talk about what their academic goals are. We kind of work through small pieces of a large issue that they might be going through. Also through our office, through my role, we do progress reports. So you may be used to those in high school. They come out about halfway through a term. For us, it happens about week 5 to week 10 is when our progress reports go out for students at Bentley. They are sent to faculty, and then when and if you are noted as an academic concern in a course, your student will receive an email in response noting that the faculty member is concerned. And then it will also get pushed to one of the coaches, and we will immediately start outreach to them. So that could be if their test scores are low or if they aren't attending courses. We will kind of start to reconnect with them, see if there's anything we can do to connect them, see if we can provide tutoring to them. Maybe they need other resources on campus or need to know certain hours of certain offices, and we can work with those students. We most work with students through email, through phone, and we schedule meetings. And we also allow students to just come in if there's something that comes up. We also do that as well. The students that we work with most usually will come from the students themselves coming in, family members who reach out and say that they're just concerned. Faculty is our number one referral for us. And then also our academic advisors, campus partners also will let us know if they're concerned about a student. And we jump right in and we assist that student in getting right back on course and educating them about dates, deadlines, and kind of really helping them to get back on path and be successful is our goal. We want them to finish the semester as strong as they wanted at the beginning. And then what should you do? We hope all of your students' courses go smoothly and go well, but we also know that my role is here in case that it is not the case. And so if a student is finding a class to be somewhat difficult, they should talk to their professors first. Email or office hours are great. Our professors really do want a relationship. I know maybe on campus tours you hear a lot, faculty love to work with students. Bentley really means it. These professors go out of their way to work, to answer emails, to meet with students during office hours or at a convenient time. And so encourage your student to talk to the professor who is teaching the course, and see if they can get extra time to understand the material. If there's anything that they could be studying more in preparation for their homework assignments or anything of that nature. Look at the feedback from their past assignments that have been turned in. That's also helpful. Students can also look to the learning centers, or they can, if the learning centers aren't successful for them or they feel like potentially tutoring would be the better path, they can also come to our office, and that's the additional step as well. Yes, Vanessa.
This I think is incredible information, and it's very important for students to take note of. What I also wanted to add there is that, I myself am first generation, and when I first went to college, I was terrified to speak to professors because I thought, who is little old me? Talking to someone with a doctorate who is like 1,000 times smarter than me, I'm wasting their time. I don't want to go there. It makes me feel uncomfortable. These are valid feelings. These are valid experiences, especially because as students start their semester, they're going to realize very quickly, like, this is not high school. Like, this is work. Very similar to almost like a full-time course load is almost 40 hours of studying per week or so. And so I share this specifically to say that if your student has shared that they don't feel comfortable, I am also a resource that they can come to. And what I do specifically is work with them through that experience and also coach them on, or at least give them the tools or the right language and the kind of like the push to go to the resources that are listed here. And so if your student is watching with you, know that Kristen, Valerie were all great resources. But it was one of those things where it's like, I really don't know how to talk to a professor. I don't know what to do. Those more interpersonal relationship level work is something that I'm happy to work with students one-on-one with.
Yeah.
But thank you.
And we
Yep.
also occasionally have students that come into our office. This could be a drop-in conversation where they know they should email their instructor, or maybe it's their first time going to office hours, which is defined time throughout the week that a faculty member sets aside for students just to come in. And they don't know how to approach that conversation, and that can literally be what the drop-in discussion is about. You know, what would you say initially? How do you kind of present your questions or concerns in a way that feels comfortable to you, the student, and maybe as a nice point of entry in terms of building that relationship with the instructor. So I want to talk a little bit now just about what's coming up in the next couple of weeks, which is primarily focused on new student registration. We have a transfer student registration event on Monday, July 29th, and our first year registration event is July 31st. This is essentially students' primary opportunity to select their courses for the fall. We just earlier this week posted a variety of information to this website listed here. This was included in the new student orientation email newsletter as well. Really encourage students to watch the videos and review the details on that website, because it goes into a lot of detail in the hopes that students feel comfortable knowing which courses they should be selecting and how to go about selecting them using the technology platforms that we have. There's a variety of information there. We're also hosting some drop-in discussions with new students on July 24th and 25th. The Zoom link and the hours for those are posted on the same website. And that becomes a great way for students, after they've watched the videos and maybe reviewed some of the resources, to connect with an advisor before their registration day, to ask any questions that they have. So again, that they can approach their registration day as prepared and as comfortable as possible, recognizing that it's a lot of new stuff. And so after registration concludes, academic advisors will review each new student's schedule. This will take place in early August. And we will reach out to students via email, of course, as usual. And this will be the student's Bentley email address to let them know if we have any questions or concerns about their schedule. So for example, there's a required course for the fall that we're not seeing in the student's schedule. We also have some advising guidance that we give to students, and we typically encourage them not to take more than 3 academic courses in a day, which of course is very different than what they're accustomed to in high school. And so if we see a student has a lot of courses on one day of the week, we will reach out to kind of express that concern to them and encourage them to think about perhaps revisiting that when they have the opportunity to do so during orientation. So for now, the primary message is for students to review the resources on this webpage. There's a lot of information there, but we've tried to break it down into small segments so that students can take it in initially and then go back and visit the content that's most helpful for them. And then to connect with us via those Zoom drop-ins on July 24th or 25th, if they have any questions before they register and before they select their courses at the end of the month. And then to stay tuned to their Bentley email in early August. If a schedule looks fine as is, we do not reach out. So we would only contact a student if we had any questions or concerns or suggesting that they consider revisiting something. And then as part of the orientation program, the Friday of orientation, we will be in front of all new students to give them an overview of some key academic information and just kind of introduce them to some information that might be quite helpful for them as they start their Bentley experience. So this academic overview will be built into their orientation schedule, so they'll find that information there. And then we have a session in the trading room here on campus where advisors will be available if a student either needs to or wants to make an adjustment to their fall schedule. So after their registration period concludes, that initial registration time is just 24 hours. And then students cannot make a change to their schedule until Friday, August 30th. And we want to be there as a resource so that students can ask questions as they do that. If students look to make any changes after that point, if they're going to take a different course for the fall instead of one of the ones that they have included in their schedule, they would need to make those changes by Monday, September 9th. That is the deadline for doing so for this fall semester. And we are available via drop-ins that first week of classes to answer questions and help students as they're looking to do that. What we want to do is make sure that as they start making changes to their schedule on their own, that they're still aligning those changes and what their fall schedule looks like with what we've outlined in those videos in terms of here are the 5 courses or course requirements that you should be completing in the fall. So happy to be a resource for them as they do that. So we have the built-in session on Friday, August 30th for the students for whom that might be helpful. And then also plenty of opportunities for students to connect with us via drop-ins during the first week of classes. If they're coming to the realization they might want to make a change during that period of time. And then just a quick overview in terms of what students can expect for this first year at Bentley. So much of this really comes down to adjustment and acclimation. We know that all of the students joining us have really strong academic skills. That's how they got themselves to Bentley. But I do think that sometimes it's worth students assessing which of their academic study skills, approaches to time management, which of those are still serving them well once they get to Bentley and kind of begin taking college courses. My hunch is that there might be many of those approaches that they do want to continue in a very similar manner. And then there may be other things where they realize quite quickly that they want to change things up a bit or maybe tweak some things. As mentioned, we are here to help students with this adjustment as well. I think one of the biggest challenges, particularly if it's a student's first semester of college ever, is time management, because it feels like they have a lot more free time because they're not sitting in class as many hours every day. But because there is plenty of work for them to do outside of the classroom, sometimes it can be difficult to recalibrate how they're spending their time and making sure that they get everything done that they need to. So we really encourage students to connect with us whenever that might be helpful in the first semester, first year, to really focus on adjusting to college academics and paying attention to what are the skills and approaches that continue to work well for them, what are some things they might want to change up, and to start exploring their academic opportunities. And if they hear something that sounds interesting, to really look into that and decide if that's something they might want to explore further and try to incorporate into their Bentley experience.
How to support your student is the last topic we're going to be talking about tonight. And you have played such a big role in your students' upbringing to get them to Bentley. And so we want you to still be with them throughout their Bentley experience in potentially a different role if they aren't living in your house anymore, or if they don't to begin with, but they're living on campus or they're living off campus somewhere new. We want you to still help them, and we on campus are going to be helping them as well. So we kind of go through this model of challenge plus support equals success. And so really start, challenge them to explore options and to try something new. There are so many different clubs, organizations, academic clubs on campus. They may be very focused in on one area, but there's so many other things to try as well. Even when it comes to different majors, they may have applied to Bentley for one major, and they may find through their course load, they may potentially find another interest. And so just challenge them to explore. Don't think that they have to take all classes in one area because that's the only thing that they can like. There's a lot of things our campus will open them up to. And so really just challenge them to go to new things, to attend, and just to make a friend to maybe go with them there. The next thing is to support them. Ask questions, even if you don't know. Sometimes just asking questions and learning from your student is really helpful for the student to really work through and explain things that are going on campus, so that they also can learn about how things are running or what is going on. It is beneficial to have that back and forth conversation with you. And then support them in discovering their Bentley path. They may come in as accounting and switch to finance, and that's totally okay. Our Career Center will help them figure that out as well as you can. But really supporting where their journey goes at Bentley when they are kind of faced with a lot of choices in front of them. And then what this looks like is success, and watch them be happy, healthy, and wise. If you do get concerned, we have resources. We are resources for you as well. But we want all students on campus to be successful. And so everyone's success looks a little different, but overall, getting them to graduation in a goal timeline that works for them is everyone's goal. And so we are here to support you along with your student in this transition and in this new chapter of their lives.
Excellent. Thank you, Val and Kristen, so much. That was a lot of wonderful information. And just a reminder for folks watching that this is being recorded, and we will be putting this up on the YouTube channel. We'll make sure to include the link for that in the chat here before we wrap up tonight. So if you want to go back and rewatch anything, listen to anything a second time, we'll have that opportunity. Vanessa, before we move on, any other components that you would like to add?
As parents, I suspect that it can be very hard to sometimes keep up with a lot of the terminology, a lot of the language that comes up. Please know that I'm also a resource, and I'm happy to talk through like what a lot of this means. And then another just small little plug-in for student success. Please, 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 please do not schedule any major family events during the beginning of the semester, towards midterms, which is in the middle of the semester, and then towards the end of the semester, which is when finals are. Your students will be very, very busy during those times. They are crunching basically all the information that they've learned and demonstrating to their professors that, you know, they've learned what they needed to from that course. And that can be very stressful for a lot of students. So best way that you can support them is to be mindful of those dates. So sit down with your student, go through the academic calendar that Valerie and Kristen shared, and try not to schedule during those times, because it can be really hard for a student to be like, I really need to study for that exam. That's a big part of my grade, but my sister's getting married, and how could I possibly say no to supporting my sister that way? I'm not talking about me, by the way. So just things like that as well, to keep in mind. And I would also say check in on them during those time periods. Sometimes it's nice for them to have a phone call from back home to just decompress and check in with loved ones. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Vanessa. That's incredibly helpful. So now I'd love to turn it over to our colleagues in Student Financial Services. We have Sherry Spencer and Nivea Mogan here, and they're going to talk a little bit about the world of student financial services and walk through some of those components of billing, something that we know can be incredibly stressful. It's important to have a lot of clarity on and make sure that you can get your questions answered. So thrilled to turn it over to you all to introduce yourselves and kick it off.
Hey, I'm Nivea Mogan, Associate Director of Financial Assistance in Student Financial Services. First, I would like to congratulate our first year students and their families on this webinar. We are very much looking forward to seeing you here on campus. So today, and then let me, Sherry, are you able to put the PowerPoint up? Oh, let me do it. Let me just share the screen.
I think I got
Very
it.
well, Nivea does that. If you'd like to just do a quick introduction, that would be great too.
Sure.
I
My
think
name
I
is Sherry
got it.
Spencer. I'm the Associate Director of Student Accounts and Student Financial Services.
Okay. Well, first of all, we would like to, let me go through the agenda first. We would like to give you a brief overview about our office and the resources that we offer. We will also go through some important dates that are coming up, and we'll go through some billing and payment information. Okay, our office. Okay. Our goal really is to work with our students and families to go through the processes of financial assistance. I mean, our office is really responsible for the financial aid assistance, student billing and payments, and we also oversee student employment. But to go back a little bit about the financial aid and student billing, At this time, you should all have received your financial aid awards. You should all have also received your full statement. You should be able to see your financial aid reflected on your bill. But if you haven't yet, please call our office because we have a team of fantastic financial aid counselors that are more than happy to to help out. Our office is really here to support you. If you don't understand anything, I mean, if you go through your financial aid award and you have questions about any components, if you go through your bill and you still have questions and you don't know quite, you don't know how to get additional financing that you may need, with the office to call. We can help you through the alternative loan process payment plan, which Sherry's going to talk about later on. All of that. Don't be scared. Just give us a call. You know, we're here to help. When I mentioned about the student employment, we also, so students who have financial aid, who have federal work study as part of the financial aid award, have priority at getting jobs. But jobs are open to the whole campus, once students with federal work study have had the opportunity to apply. And through the applying process, I would say don't apply for just 1 or 2 jobs. It's a handful so that you have the opportunity to go in and have several interviews. But any questions that you may have, again, about billing, financial aid, or student employment, feel free to give us a call. Our office has 8 financial aid counselors and 2 billing experts. And even though we have financial aid and billing, we're trained in all the basic issues, right, that students may have questions on. So you can always give us a call anytime. Through the summer, we're open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5:30, but regular business hours, we go back to Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Students that apply for financial aid that are eligible to apply do get assigned a specific financial aid counselor. By case split. So for example, anyone's whose last name start with the letter M will have me as a financial aid counselor for the 4 years. That's my favorite part of the job because I get to know my students, know their situations and help them out throughout the years, and it's always a pleasure to see them graduate. And I would also like to highlight that if you have any questions, you can email the general account, sfs@bentley.edu. We're always checking. We try our best to reply to emails within 24 hours. If for some reason you don't get a reply right away, I mean, we sometimes get inundated with emails, but we try our best to answer as fast as we can.
Olivia, if I can just interrupt really quick. There was a question in the Q&A area that someone's child's offer letter and billing statement did not reflect the same amounts for aid and grants. Is that something that you either have a quick explanation for or something you would encourage them to contact the office about?
I would encourage the student to contact us directly. Again, you have an assigned financial aid counselor, so you can see it right here. I don't know who's your counselor here, but this information is on our website as well. We'll be more than happy to help you out. It could be that maybe the financial components have changed, but it's the same total, or it simply hasn't hit your account. I'm not sure. We would have to see the information to be able to help you out a little bit more, but you can call us anytime. Okay, and when you call, I want to highlight that, it's not a machine, answering. We have our student workers out there that, you'll get a person answer the phone and we'll get the appropriate counselor on the line to help you out. And we welcome visitors. I love to see people visiting our office. We can also set up Zoom meetings if that's convenient, or simply a phone call.
Thank you.
Oh, any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. I will pass it on to Sherry. She's gonna share some important dates that are coming up in regards to billing. And she will also talk a little bit about the process of billing and payments.
Thank you, Nivea. Yes, so as you can see here, the fall bills went out this week, so I'm sure you got the email and have looked at your bill. The due date to pay your balance in full is August 6th. However, we do offer a payment plan. It's a maximum of 4 payments. And if you enroll before August 15th, you'd be able to take advantage of the 4 payments. The dates are the 15th of each month, September through November. And if you enrolled after August 6th, 15th, your payment plan would be a 3-pay plan, and so forth. The plan closes, you're no longer able to enroll in the plan after September 20th. And here's the anticipated dates for the spring semester. We usually do our billing late November, early December. The first installment for the payment plan is December 15th, and it goes through and it closes on January 18th. This is a sample of what the student statements look like. As you'll see, you'll have the student ID, the student name in the fall billing semester, your total balance due, anything for past or future periods, and then they'll show the list of charges, payments and credits, and anticipated payments. Payments and credits, right now, you probably only have your enrollment deposit listed there. And then anticipated payments is the financial aid. Typically, it's payments that we have not yet received. We know it's coming in, but we just haven't received the disbursement yet. And then the total refunds, if there is any. Statements are generated in real time. We update your account. Everything is done at real time. So if you do print a billing statement and then something changes on your account, you have to reprint a new PDF form of the statement. The changes won't reflect the current statement that you have. A lot of families do get confused about that. So as I was just saying, statements can be run at any time and change based on the activity on the account. Third-party users. Students can set up parents or anybody they wish to have access to the account as a third-party user. We really encourage this because we'll have a lot of parents saying, oh, I don't want to bug the student, or I can't get in touch with them, but I need to see the bill. We encourage them to set them up as third-party users so they can just do this on their own. They can view the bill, print a PDF form, they can, make online payments, anything really the students want them to do, have access to the account. There are terms and conditions that we send out that's a requirement and must be done each semester. It's basically on the onboarding, but it's going to be sent out in your inbox notifications. So what someone said earlier, I think it was Vanessa, please check your emails. We send out lots of email reminders about requirements, and I know they get a lot of information, but it's very important that they check their emails because we will notify them of these requirements. So this is something that needs to be done every semester, and it probably has a notification in their inbox currently. If not, it will be there shortly. The health insurance, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has very strict guidelines as to what students need to have for health insurance coverage. So we are required to comply with this. So every student registered 3/4 time or more will have a health insurance charge on their account. And they have the option to waive or enroll out of the plan, or enroll in the plan. We actually will be sending out emails on Monday, notifying the students about this and giving them instructions of what they can do and where they can go to do it. Our
Great.
payment
I can just
options.
ask a quick clarifying question. I apologize to interrupt. For the terms and conditions that need to be signed off on each semester. That's by the student, correct? Or is that also
Correct.
by the third-party user?
No, just the student.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
One more question. So
Mhm.
sorry. So to get a better understanding, if a student is like a longtime resident of Massachusetts, and let's say they have Mass Health or they're covered by their parents' private insurance, that could be considered a valid insurance to waive so that they're not then paying for the insurance that the university offers them.
Well, it all
Correct.
depends on the coverage they have. So when they go to submit the waiver, there's a list of questions that the requirements that the state has, basically, your doctor's within so many miles of the university, or you can go to any emergency room and you will be covered, just basic questions like that. So there's a lot of, I believe Medicaid plans don't cover other than where they're located, where they live. They have to go directly to that emergency room. So there's a few different questions. So they could either call us if they're not sure, or they can call University Health Plans directly. But like I said, we'll be sending out an email Monday or Tuesday to all the students about it.
Thank you, Sherry. That was helpful because I wasn't even sure.
Yeah,
So thank you.
you're welcome. Our payment options, you can pay online through your Workday portal, through e-check, ACH payment. You can pay by credit card. However, there is convenience fees. I believe it's a 2.95% fee for domestic cards and 4.25% for international cards, and that's per transaction. So sometimes that deters people away from there. You can pay by paper check, money order, bank check, make it payable to Bentley University, just reflect the student's name and ID number on the check. You can either put it in the mail, or you can send it to the cashier's office if you're in person. Or you can put it in the mail. We do not accept cash. As of 2021, I believe, we no longer accept cash. So here's again the payment plan. You can enroll in the payment plan and have a maximum of 4 payments per semester. International payments, wire payments are all done through Flywire. We've seen that's a pretty easy process as well. So it seems to benefit a lot of the parents and families. We do also accept cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, etc. And that's something new we've had for the past couple of years. And alternative loans, basically private loans, you can go to elmselect.com and look at your options, and there's descriptions for each loan and what their rates are. Or you can do a combination of financing. You can get an alternative loan for half of your balance, enroll in the payment plan for the remaining half, or pay by check and credit card, whatever works best for your situation. So we spoke about the payment plans. This gets to be a little tricky because only the students can enroll in the payment plan. Third-party users do not have access to enroll in the plan. However, they will be able to see the breakdown of the plan and make payments for it when they're in their Workday portal, but only the students can enroll in the plan. And it is a 2-step process. They'll go and enroll in the plan, then they'll be sent a notification in their inbox, which they need to complete to officially be enrolled in the plan. So if a parent calls and says, oh, my student enrolled in the plan and we don't see it, it's most likely because they didn't complete that second step. There is a $35 enrollment fee per semester per plan, and there's no interest. And again, I just explained that you have to agree to the terms and conditions, and it's a per semester plan. It doesn't carry over from fall to spring. You have to enroll each semester. Oh, that was quick. Okay, any questions?
We do
Yes.
not have any additional in the Q&A right now. Vanessa, sorry, were you about to unmute? Okay, go ahead.
I have a question about scholarships. This comes up a lot when students come to meet with me and my colleagues. And one of the biggest questions is where can I find scholarships? Where can I get more like access to these either regional ones or national ones? And what would be the best way to apply? Do I have to meet with my advisor? So it's more of like, what direction can you take if you are curious about looking into more scholarships?
Okay, so I think that we're talking about outside scholarships.
Mhm.
On our website, you should be able to find, so if students simply go to the Student Financial Services website, there are some search engines listed there, but FastWeb, this NASFA for international students, I'm not sure. I think we have a lot of like domestic in this webinar, but simply go to College Board. You'll find a lot in there. So you would have to apply, they would have to apply directly through the organization. It doesn't really take, that long to apply. Sometimes you already have your information from high school, right? When you apply for SI scholarships, through your high school. I would say if you, at this point, it may be a little too late for incoming, maybe not, but even so, you can still look, for the next academic year. It doesn't have to just be your freshman year. The process is that if you apply and you do receive an outside scholarship, you will need to send us a copy of the award letter so that we can reflect it on your financial aid package as well. And then, the check gets sent directly to our billing office.
That's
But
very interesting.
students should look into that. I do recommend it. It helps, even if it's to pay for books, your
Mhm.
supplies. It helps. So I encourage everyone to do that.
It certainly adds up. Thank you so much.
I do want to stress as well, if ever you have questions, I know the statements can be confusing and overwhelming. Like Nivea said, we're here to help. Like, please reach out.
Mhm.
We're happy to assist you.
And
Mhm.
I do have two recommendations, and I know that Sherry mentioned this, but if you haven't already done so, please set up your third-party access, and please read your email. How important is that? I know that at our office, we keep sending emails to students when it's time to, for those eight recipients, when it's time to complete the master promissory note, the loan counseling programs for the federal loans, for reapplying for the next academic year. We send a lot of communication. So I'd say keep on track, check your email constantly, and set up that third-party access, because if you don't, then your parent may not have access to paying your bill, and we really want them to do that. And then if your parent calls our office, we will not be able to to discuss information unless we have that access set up. So two very important things to take away if you haven't already done so.
And
So-
Nivea, does that third-party access, that doesn't need to be a direct parent or guardian, that can be anyone the student deems as appropriate that they want to have that access, correct?
Right. So Sherry, add on
Correct,
to that,
yeah.
but that's
Yeah. It allows us, basically, it's for us to be in compliance with the FERPA laws.
And FERPA is essentially very similar to HIPAA, but in the educational world, where it allows us to share access, to allow you to access information regarding the student's academic and financial records.
Right.
Right. What I've heard so far was three things that I wanted to highlight, three very important tools for our families and our students. Workday. Get into Workday. You're going to have a lot of information there. That's basically your portal into a lot of the university life. You'll find your advisors there, their contact information, your courses, etc. Not course selection though. Or correct me if I'm wrong. So Workday, email. Email is a very important one as well. So email is essentially kind of like your gateway into Workday. And then the Bentley website. The Bentley website is constantly updated, and there's a lot of valuable information there. So please, I encourage you all to use that search bar for any questions, curiosities, concerns that you might have, because that'll hopefully lead you to the right person that can answer your question.
And advocate for yourself. Whenever you have questions, don't hesitate to, visit different offices, academic services. I know Vanessa, you encourage everyone already, but I want to say that I'd love to see the students visit our office as well. I know that we could be a little, when you think about student financial services and billing, it could be a little overwhelming or scary, but no, we just demystify, the process, for you. And I also want to say that we do have 3 Spanish speakers in the office. So if a family wants to call and go through all the information in Spanish and our native language, we'd be more than happy to do that as well. So I can't tell you. I would say visit all the offices and make the most of it, of your college experience.
I just want to reinforce, because this is such a warm and welcoming community, even if you're not sure which office, or your student's not sure which office to go to, just stop by the first office that you see, and whoever's there can point you in the right direction for whatever your particular question or your student's particular question might be.
Mhm.
Such a wonderful point, Val, and thank you, Nivea and Sherry, as well, for everything that you've offered. I think, and my hope is that you all take away from tonight that there are so many people here so eager to help your students, and we're just really excited for them to be here and want them to feel as comfortable as possible. And now, what I'm really excited to do is to introduce you to Ariana and Samili, 2 of our student coordinators for our orientation program that will be working hard and have been working hard all summer to plan our orientation for our new students. And they are both first generation students as well at Bentley. So they're here to share a little bit with you about their experience, and so you can hear firsthand kind of what your student can expect. So if you 2 would like to introduce yourselves and then just share a little bit about your time adjusting to Bentley, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I can definitely start. So just want to say hi, everyone. My name is Samili Soros. I am a junior, which is very crazy to say. But like Nicole said, I am a student coordinator and I work for orientation and student onboarding. So basically, once all the students arrive to campus, we're programming and planning all of that experience that they will have, which has been super fun, and we're super excited for it. Um, my major, maybe I should also say that. I have changed my major maybe like 4 or 5 times in my head, but I decided to go with management with a concentration in supply chain and a double major in professional sales. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm super excited. And I think I'll let Ariana introduce herself, and then we can kind of talk a little bit about our experience.
Yeah, for sure. So hi, I'm Ariana Tamili. I am also a junior, which is crazy. And like Samili had introduced, I also work with the orientation onboarding for new students. So I kind of do a little bit more of like the marketing and like communication side of it, which goes along really well with my major. I'm a marketing major and I double majored in sustainability sciences as well, which kind of just goes to show with both like mine and Samili's experience, like you have a lot of flexibility, especially with academics, and like you're able to kind of go into like new fields that you might not know if that's exactly what you want to do, and that's totally okay. And then I'm also involved, aside from this, I'm also on the e-board for my sorority, and I have an on-campus job through Bentley Service Learning and Civic Engagement Center. So we're both, and I know Samili could say her involvements too, but we're both really kind of involved on campus, and we were able to kind of get that push with a lot of like the resources and assistance that we received, especially being first generation students. That's kind of helped us, like all the offices we work for or student orgs we're engaged with are really like opening and just kind of super welcoming, especially when you're first coming to campus, no matter kind of where you stand on your levels of engagement or involvement. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will kind of say, I forgot to say my campus involvement. It's so much that we do. But along with orientation that I work for them, I am also going to be president of Off the Clock, which is our a cappella group here. And I was also part of CAB, which is Campus Activities Board. And we kind of host a bunch of fun they host a bunch of activities throughout the whole school year, so that there's always something to do on campus. I would definitely say that one, Vanessa has been my go-to person for everything. So there is always someone, always. like I've had meltdowns to poor Vanessa, but I know she's always there, always helps. So I would say I was very, very nervous about meeting professors. I think that was one, I know Vanessa said a little bit earlier, but that was one thing that got to me. My anxiety levels went crazy. And I would definitely say once I sat in the class and I was there, I was present, I was like, okay, this is not that bad. These professors are here to actually help. They want to help. I haven't met one professor who doesn't want to help or doesn't want you to succeed. So I haven't met one yet, and I assume I won't. But I would definitely say if that is a worry that you may have or your student may have, just it's okay. Like just take deep breaths. Like there's always someone to help, and it's just great. Like I think Valerie said this, but the community here is so welcoming and so nice. Like there will always be a friendly face if it's a staff member, if it's a student, like there will always be someone.
I want to apologize if I seem a little emotional. I first started working at Bentley when both Ariana and Samil first started their first semester at Bentley. And to see how much they've grown in their leadership has been very humbling for me. And I'm incredibly proud of both of them. And I just wanted to explain myself really quickly. And now I'm going to hush up so that they keep the floor.
Firsthand proof of both the incredible caliber of our students and of Vanessa. So, and her amazing dedication to our students as well.
Team effort. Team effort.
That's right. You both mentioned a little bit about getting involved. So can you talk a little bit about how that process happened when you first got to campus? Because I know I remember, even though I went to college many, many years ago, it was overwhelming and tends to be overwhelming for students to figure out where's my place going to be. So how did that happen for you both, since you found really great organizations that you're connected to?
Yeah, I can definitely say, I also completely agree. When I first came, I was like so overwhelmed because I knew that Bentley had a ton of student orgs and like different things I could get involved in, but I didn't really like know exactly where to start. So one of the best things I would say, is going to the activities fair, and it's right after orientation. So when you come for orientation, that's like orientation in general is just a great, great way to like learn different ways to get involved, because you meet all of our orientation leaders have such ranging orgs and different involvements that they're in. So if you're ever interested in something and you want to ask, like I'm sure someone on the team is in it and we can definitely connect you directly. But even if that isn't the case, we have an activities fair, and it's like right like the week after orientation ends. And it's like all the student orgs have their own tables there. And my best advice I would say is just sign up for like as many things as like you find interesting. A lot of them have different meeting times, and like they're different, like they're ranging kind of throughout the week, so you can be in multiple. I did that, and I kind of went through a bunch of different orgs. Some I still get to go back to because that's the best part about them, is like a lot of just like the clubs are not like you have to be there every single week. Like if you missed a week and you want to come back or you want to join later, they're always open to new people. And then kind of through those clubs is where I met people, especially like in like Greek life, which is kind of when I went into that field, and I got to meet a whole bunch of people through there. And then I loved orientation, so I went back to that team. And then through there, I met people who work for the BSLCE, and I met them in other orgs. And like that's kind of like that really good pinpoint of like starting at the activities fair, getting your name on kind of like the email list or joining their group me's, going to some meetings, and really kind of just finding like which clubs stick with you. And it's okay if you go to one and you're like, this isn't really my thing. I've been to plenty of them and I was like, okay, like this isn't my thing, like, but I tried it. But I would definitely say like it can be kind of hard putting yourself out there and just showing up to the clubs, but being someone who's been in a lot of the clubs for so long, you're just like, you want more people all the time. So that was kind of like my whole spiel, but but I genuinely think going to those, just talking to some people, getting a few like names or numbers or something like that, people who you can connect with later, will help you get that path of the orgs. You're like, I'm never leaving this org, like I'm staying forever. But Samelia, I don't know if you want to add to any points.
Yeah, one thing, you mentioned the activities fair. It is going to be that first Friday, so I think it's September 6th. So just keep that on your radar. But I would say my first semester, I went to activities fair and I was super overwhelmed because there's so much to do. So I kind of went about it a very different way. So my first semester, I did absolutely nothing. I just focused on my academics. And when I did that, I was like, wow, I'm so bored. I have so much free time. What do I do? And that's when I started trying new things. So I feel like if you're also a person that's kind of like me, I'm kind of like a very low person. I like to kind of go with the flow and see what happens. But I don't like to just throw myself out there. So I feel like that way worked perfect for me. It made me feel a lot more comfortable with where I was going and like what clubs to join, what clubs to try. And by doing that, it's where I found like Off the Clock, the acapella group, because I would say that's a little hobby I have, but I didn't really think much about it until someone just said, "Oh, let's go try it." I was like, "Okay, why not? I have nothing better to do." So I feel like when you're here, like don't stress yourself too much about joining things. I feel like it'll also come to you when you feel comfortable to do that, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. Some clubs, some orgs can have a lot of different people, and you're like, "Oh wow, this is a lot to take in." So definitely, if it feels like that, just take some breaths, take it step by step, and see where you feel most comfortable with. I think that's kind of how I went down that path and all of that. But yeah.
Love the two levels of advice because I think we see students that use both approaches and find their right way of how to integrate themselves into the community. And as Vanessa mentioned earlier, we will be having another First Falcon live chat that will be focused more on the residential student experience and the campus life experience. And so if you're able to join us for that or see the recording of that one, there will be far more information on how your students will be encouraged to get involved. And Samili and Ariana, maybe just one more question. If you can reflect on maybe something you remembered that was important for how you stayed in touch with your family or a resource that was really helpful for your family members so that the family members that are with us tonight might take something away that they can help utilize with their student.
Yeah, I can definitely start. I would say my parents are both Brazilian. They have zero expectations. They don't even know what college is. My dad didn't even go to high school just because of how life worked out. So my parents were very, very, very nervous about everything. So I definitely tried calming them down, but little did they know I was probably more nervous than they were. But I think kind of the best way that works with my mom, especially till this day, is just calling her. Like I'll call her in the morning and then I'll call her at night. Or sometimes it's just a phone call at night, depending on how like busy my day is or her day is. But I definitely say like that phone call always like calms her down. Or if there's like one day where we just can't get in contact with each other, it's texting. Just calls like, hey, just checking in. And it's just something that we have that it's not overwhelming to me and not overwhelming to her, but it's also comforting to her to know that I'm okay and just quick check-ins. But I don't know. I think that's just what we do and it works for us.
Yeah, I definitely second that. I definitely call my family just a lot because I do like FaceTime a lot just because I love like seeing them. One thing I did do, especially because I had a lot of like I had a few like night classes, like the night bombs, if you like have heard kind of heard that term. It's basically just like a class like later in the night. Like it's from like 6 to 9, 6:30 to 9:15. And it's just like a later time. So like if my mom would call me and I'm in this class, she'd be like, why isn't she answering? Like, etc. So I sent my parents my schedule and I put in the times when I had club meetings or if you use like Google Calendar and your family uses that and you like can add them to your calendar, just things so that my family stayed really in the loop and they kind of knew what I was doing, but also because they were probably like, that's dinner time. Like, why isn't she answering? That I was in like this night class. So I think just like having like a nice like open communication is super helpful just so like you have that support but you also know like okay like these times like if I don't answer like it's not because I'm avoiding your call, it's just because I'm in the kind of a longer class like and they liked having that too and like they kind of liked seeing it. Also it's kind of cool to see like what like your student is doing and like what their time is spent doing because that's something you really learn when you're in college is like you live here but you also go to school here and you also have your activities here and kind of like breaking those like different segments up in your schedule. But I would say like if a certain time of the day too like works and be like look like Monday night at this time is like our call time, like it's in my calendar, definitely making time to talk to your family. I like even like last semester, it's like I was involved in a ton of things, and my schedule was crazy that I would call my mom like when I was walking up to class, or just kind of whenever I could, so I could keep them in the loop. So definitely prioritize that. If you have to like set reminders or something for yourself, do that, because coming to college is definitely different than seeing your families every single day when you live at home or go to high school. So I would say my mom has always been there. If I was like, Mom, like I got a bad score on a test, like I gotta rent it out. So I would definitely say that, making sure you have time, but sending them your schedule too, if that's something that would be interesting to you.
You have the extra special treat, Ariana, of having your big sister, or she was, right, here as a Bentley student as well. So you had a little taste of family on campus. Thank you both so much. I think the student perspective is incredibly helpful and valuable. And Ariana and Simile are working with us all summer. So if you have questions that you would love some student perspective on, certainly you could email the orientation email address, and I can pop that in the chat. And they will be here to kind of help provide that perspective throughout the summer. The other resource before we wrap up that I'd like to just make sure everyone is aware of is one of our goals this year has been to really streamline our ability for families and students to communicate and get questions answered. Because as even tonight, you've seen there's so many offices with so many different email addresses, and the experience of trying to find the right one can sometimes feel overwhelming for students or families. So we have a new resource that is our kind of new Falcon question form. I have just put the bentley.servicenow.com/BSC link in the chat. And what that does is it allows you to choose a topic area. So you might choose academics, you could choose financial support, residential life, campus life, and ask your question. And the form will automatically get it to the correct person to answer that question, and they will respond to you directly. So we hope that that's a helpful resource for you all as family members and for your students that will be available to them throughout their time here at Bentley as well. But please utilize that. We have also put in the chat the new Falcon Experience website, which is a comprehensive site that has information from all the offices that your student will interact with and the orientation program. And again, we've put up the YouTube link for where all of these webinars will be housed, so you can go back and rewatch those at any time. But very grateful for you spending this time with us tonight. Like we said at the beginning and throughout, we are so excited to support your student through this experience. We will be hosting that next webinar for our first generation families and students shortly later this summer, and you can get all the information on that on the website or on the weekly newsletters that come out on Tuesdays to students' email and to your email. Vanessa, is there anything else you'd like to share in closing?
If all of this felt a little confusing and overwhelming, know that that's okay. That is not a fault on your end. A lot of this will start to make sense for you, for your families, for your students once they're here and they can see things being put into practice. And just stressing that we're all here to support, and we can't wait to meet everyone in the fall.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Take good care.
Thank you.